Welcome to Somerset Showcase. We are continuing today with our interviews with the candidates who won seats in the election for the first time in this past annual town election. Today we are here with Jeff Kardel, who won a seat on the Playground and Recreation Commission. Welcome, Jeff.
Thanks for having me, George.
So you got elected to a commission that deals a lot with providing a lot of fun and exercise to people in town. That sounds like a good job to me.
It is. I mean, I've only been on the board a short period of time, and you know, I'm still learning a lot. A lot of the programs that are offered in town, I didn't know. I went to the concert the other night. That was the first time I actually had ever went. So I'll be going back this Wednesday. It was a really good time, and yeah, a lot of the programs I didn't even know we offered. So
yeah, that band was very entertaining the other day.
It was.
I caught the end of it.
It was, and there's a few more coming that are good. So it'll be fun.
But you do have a background in recreation activities with basketball.
I do. I actually started out coaching softball, rec softball here in Somerset, and then I moved on to travel softball, and I coached all the travel teams for quite a few years, up until I think my daughter graduated high school, is when I stopped coaching softball. But so I started out in that, and then now my son's got into basketball, so I've been involved with basketball quite a number of years now. So it's rewarding, I referee high school basketball as well, varsity high school basketball. I'm going into my 9th season doing that, which I enjoy very much. I'm a basketball junkie, Celtics green.
We have that in common.
And I referee a lot of basketball, slowing a little bit down as I get a little bit closer to 50 years old. But previously I was reffing 350 games a year. When I first started out, between rec and AAU and high school and, all the different levels of basketball, I was probably doing 350 games a year. Wow. So it was, yeah, I love it though. I love it. As long as I can still run, I'll still ref.
Yeah. Did you play sports in high school?
I did. I was a 3-sport athlete in high school. I played basketball, baseball, and football at Somerset. So.
What year did you graduate?
1991. Yep.
Okay. So you have a CPA project that's related to recreation that you're working on down at O'Neill Field. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I can. I knew nothing about CPA when I started. Asking questions about that. I first started asking questions. Why can't we have a basketball court at O'Neill Field? And then, I was told it wasn't in the budget, and, if I wanted to get it done, I needed to go through the CPA project process. So I applied. I made it past the first 2 rounds through the phase of seeing if eligibility phase was the first phase, and then it goes into the funding phase. I was a little nervous. There was a lot of projects up this year for funding. So I was glad it was approved by the committee, and then it went on to town meeting where it was approved by the voters. That money was available July 1st. We are going to start, hopefully, I have to have a meeting with Tim Turner, Richard Brown, to kind of go about the next steps of getting that project off the ground. But it's going to be a basketball court and a tennis court, which is exactly what was there before. We're just putting back what was there before. I got the idea of putting a basketball court back there. I had taken the basketball hoop out of my driveway and put it on the side street of my house, and the neighborhood kids, 6 to 8 kids every day, were playing basketball in the street, and the neighbors over there were calling the cops. I think I had the cops come to my house 4 times because the kids were playing in the street. So that's when I decided, as a parent, there was nothing in south of Route 6 for the kids to do recreation-wise. So it just made sense to try to put a basketball court and something over at O'Neill. I mean, as a parent, I wasn't going to let my 11-year-old cross Route 6.
Yeah.
You know, so that's when I decided I was going to try to push for a basketball court, and it just kept going from there. So,
Yeah.
you know, now that I'm a part of recreation, I hope we can get more activities all over town, not just, you know, south end of town.
And sports are so healthy for kids.
They are.
We don't want
And
them
adults.
doing other things.
And adults. Yep.
Okay. And I mean, I know you've been concerned about the safety in that area of town too. How has that been lately? Has it gotten any better? Or?
I mean, it seems like the last 2 months or a month and a half, the trucks have been less frequent. You know, I don't know if it's because, you know, they know the state is now involved, and they know that the Attorney General's office filed a notice of intent to sue. So I don't know if it's because of that, but it's slowed down a little bit, the truck traffic. There's still, you know, some speeding trucks, not all, you know, for the most part, most of them try to do the right thing as of late. In the beginning, it was hectic. Now that we've pushed to, you know, have fines assessed and cease and desist put in place, and you know, the interim police chief had the state truck team down there, so they know people are watching. The pop team's been instrumental in getting these trucks to slow down just by having a presence in the neighborhood. So, you know, we're hoping we see a lot of the trucks that were there before, that were doing a lot of the violations. A lot of those trucks are gone. Those companies have either been let go or decided not to come to Brayton Point for whatever reason. So we see a lot of new companies, truck companies going down there now. And it does seem to be improving a little bit.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with the all-day summer program down there, it's a real concern. I mean, we have, you know, high school kids who are down there and as counselors, camp counselors, and I mean, it's tough to keep an eye on every child. And if someone runs out into the road, you know, those trucks you can't stop. You just can't stop them on a dime like that. So it's concerning. It's always been concerning. I mean, I've lived over in that neighborhood for 48 years, and you know, I mean, even when I was a kid, my parents always used to tell me stay away from the road, you know, because of the trucks. And you just don't know. I mean, you know, one could lose a brake line. I mean, anything can happen. I've said it many times at meetings. My brother was hit by a car in that neighborhood because of the power plant at the time. You know, they used to, the traffic used to back up on Brayton Point Road at 3 o'clock when the shift change happened. So they used to try to go down side streets to try to avoid the light at Route 103, so they didn't get stuck in the traffic. And my brother was 5, and he was at a friend's house coming out of the driveway on a big wheel, and somebody ran him over. So he survived. Many stitches, you know, and luckily he survived and still alive today. So that's why I'm concerned. You know, I don't want to see anybody else's family go through what we went through. You know, it's a scary situation. So.
Was that park more vibrant when you were younger?
That park was definitely that park was definitely more vibrant when I was a kid. We were in that playground every day. You know, whether it was playing stickball or tennis or basketball, or I mean, my father played softball there for a number of years, so I was down there quite a bit. And like I said, back then the playground equipment was new. I'm very excited. The Wilbur School playground is being moved over there. That's very exciting. That slide and merry-go-round are the same ones that I played on when I was a kid. So I'm glad to see it go and the new playground go in there. The parents at Wilbur School worked very hard to get that.
Yeah, because that equipment is relatively new. They put it in there not long before the school closed.
Correct.
Actually, so
Yeah, correct.
should be in good shape.
It is. Yeah. It is. And we're all in the neighborhood looking forward to that. We're looking forward to that. So that park has been dead for many years. I mean, the softball league was the only league that really used it. You rarely ever saw any kids playing on the swings. I mean, the park was just dead.
Yeah, that's a shame.
We're hoping that we can revive it, and there's still a lot of kids in the neighborhood. So we're hoping that it's going to be a good place to go.
I mean, when I was a kid, all I did all summer was pick up basketball, pick up baseball, touch football, street hockey. Yeah. But a lot of the coaches today tell me that the kids don't play unless it's organized sports. And so I mean, I try to encourage my basketball team. I coach the Somerset travel team that's going into 8th grade this year, and I coach those kids. A lot of them I coach in AAU basketball as well, and I encourage them to go outside and play basketball, and play baseball or ride a bike or do something. I'm constantly kicking my son out of the house. Go play basketball. Go hang out with your friends. Go run around the neighborhood. Get away from those video games.
Yeah, I mean the video games. I mean, my son's not really into a lot of the video games. He'll play, but it's more the YouTube videos. I mean, he watches basketball videos, so I got to give him a little bit of credit. But it's get out and go.
Is he a Tatum fan or a Jalen Brown fan?
He is not a Celtics fan. He is a Luka Doncic fan. Through and through. So
well, he's a great player. I think. See, I'm a huge Larry Bird fan.
Yeah.
And since that time, whenever someone would say to me, "Dirk Nowitzki is like Larry Bird," I just scoff and say, "No, I don't think so."
Yeah.
Doncic is as close to him as I've ever seen.
He is.
He plays the game a lot like him. I think.
Yep. Yeah, there was nothing like the 1980s Celtics Lakers, huh?
No.
Nope.
What do we got going on for programs coming up for the Recreation Department this summer?
Well, the all-day summer program started either this week or last week, but I think it was this week. It started at O'Neill. And then we've got the concert series that just kicked off. I spoke about. There's Zumba, there's Pilates, there's yoga. There's a lot of stuff that's going on with rec right now.
This is the busiest time of year for rec.
Yeah, it is, and Barry does a fantastic job overseeing all the different programs and all the kids. That's all the the high school kids that we hire for rec. That's a big job in itself. Is keeping track of all the high school kids and making sure things are running smoothly. And I think Barry does a great job with that.
Yeah.
So
he's been there for a while.
Yeah.
He's brought in a lot of new programs.
He has. Yeah, he has.
And some of the kids at the middle school had a little proposal for you guys.
They did. They were looking for a skate park to be put in town. I'm not against it at all. I think it would be good for the community. I am all for bringing people to our community. Any type of community involvement or bringing people from other communities to come here and spend money at our businesses here in town. I think it's fantastic for our community. The skate park, the biggest issue is where to put it. Yeah. That's the biggest issue, and then how do we pay for it? How do we maintain it? Those are the questions that were asked. There's been other proposals too. You were at the last meeting with the pickleball.
I was just going to ask you.
Yeah, and I didn't even know pickleball was a thing until someone had mentioned it when I was campaigning for the position. Somebody mentioned pickleball. I actually had to go do a little research and see what it was, and it's a cross between tennis, ping pong, and badminton, and it's popular with the senior community because of the smaller court. So I did some research. There were a couple of women that showed up at our meeting last meeting, encouraging us to go to Barrington and go to Rehoboth to check it out, and I am going to go do that for sure. But prior to that last meeting, I actually went to Pierce Beach. I measured the old tennis court there, and my thing is, we shouldn't have an empty slab of concrete at a park. We just shouldn't. Whatever we decide we're going to put there, it should be put there. And I think the pickleball courts at Pierce Beach is a fantastic idea. Unfortunately, the slab of concrete at Pierce Beach is in pretty rough shape. I actually went down again after the road race the other day and checked it out, and there's some very large cracks in there. Now, I'm not saying they can't be filled and to make it safe, but I mean, that's something we're going to have to continue to get proposals on and get an opinion on how safe the surface is. We don't want anybody going down there and getting hurt. So, and I think that's our next step. I don't think anybody on our board doesn't want pickleball. We just want to make sure it's going to be safe. I mean, and Pierce Beach to me is a great place for that. It really is. It's a good spot, and like I said, it's an empty piece of concrete right now. So let's get something there, and let's do it as economical and as quickly as we can. That's
Maybe
that's
another
what I think.
CPA project.
Another CPA project, yeah. I mean, I know some of our board members were encouraging them to start a 501c3. I'm not sure that's the right way to go. I think that process is lengthy. And to ask community members to do that, I don't think that's the right way to go. I think the rec department and the town should be trying to get that accomplished for our seniors. The one woman that spoke at our meeting, one of her comments really stuck with me, and her comment was, "I'm a senior citizen, and I don't want to park my ass at the Council on Aging and play cards." So, and I great for her, and I'm sure there's many other seniors behind her that feel the same way. They don't want to go play cards at the Council on Aging. As great as the Council on Aging is, and it gives them a place to go and to stay active and socialize, but there are some that don't want to do that. So those seniors need a place to go too, and what a better place than Pierce Beach. I mean, Barry does a great job maintaining that place. The highway department, they do a fantastic job. So I mean, I think that's a great place to put that.
Yeah, I hope I can still be out running when I'm 70 years old. That's pretty good. Do you have any new ideas, programs or anything for the rec department?
I have a few things that I'm going to explore. As I said, I do a lot of refereeing in basketball, and I'm involved in a lot of referee camps and clinics. And I know there are a few of the major basketball programs in the state of Massachusetts whose high school kids put on clinics. And I think that's something that I'm going to try to reach out to Coach Slater about and see if that's something that we can get going again. I know when I was growing up, there were many baseball camps. I attended Jerry Remy baseball camp here in town. Greg Gagne and Jerry Remy used to put together a baseball camp that I went to every year. And I just think that's something that this community is lacking, is camps. And I think nothing would be better than to have, older kids who are now playing varsity baseball, varsity basketball, and the younger kids and our kids, they go to the high school and watch these kids play basketball. And I know a lot of them sit there in awe. I mean, like we all did when we were kids. They say, "Oh, I can't wait to go play varsity basketball." You know, I just think if we can combine that enthusiasm of watching the older kids play with the older kids helping the younger kids get to that point, and keep it interesting, I think that's one of the programs I'd like to start, no matter what sport it is. I would like to do that. I know the field hockey, Jen Crook does that. You know, and that's why they're successful, because they have those camps and clinics all the way through those younger years. And that's why I think, you know, Powerhouse Mansfield basketball, they're always in the state finals. Franklin, Massachusetts, their basketball team's always, you know, semifinals, state finals. And it's because of the clinics.
The feeder programs.
Yeah, the feeder programs, the league. I mean, in any sport. I mean, our girls division in basketball for Somerset Rec, it's lacking with interest. And I think that if we can get the older kids involved somehow, I think that would help, you know, with that and get that started. So that's one thing I'd like to see happen. Another thing, a resident in town actually reached out to me about was kayak storage. And he reached out to me because his wife was complaining about his kayak always being in the way. And he directed me to an article that was written in a Rhode Island newspaper about the town of Barrington, who actually started a kayak storage program at one of their farms. I can't remember off the top of my head what the name of the farm was, but it was a farm that was near the water. And they had the Eagle Scouts come in and build these racks that hold kayaks or canoes or paddle boards. And the town of Barrington would charge the resident $50 to store their kayak or paddleboard for the season. And I think that, in my opinion, I think either at Pierce Beach or at Waterfront Park, it'll generate some money for the town. They said in Barrington, I think they built 2 racks that held 15 either kayaks or paddleboards or whatever, a small boat. They said they sell out in 15 minutes.
Wow.
So, I mean, I think that's something that I'd like to pursue a little bit. I'm actually going to reach out to the town manager in Barrington and see if I could maybe meet up with him or have a conversation with him about how to get that program up and running here in Somerset. I don't think we use our water enough here in town. You know, I don't think we have enough programs. I mean, how many communities have water access or water from one end of the town to the other? Not a lot. And I think that Somerset does not do a good job of utilizing programs for the water. So I think, you know, whether it could be sailing lessons, whether it could be kayak lessons or you know, fishing or something, that programs that we can start to utilize the water is what I'd like to try to build upon. And I think the kayak storage thing is a fantastic idea. I was actually glad that this resident reached out to me and gave me the idea. So I think that I'm going to pursue that. I'm going to, you know, talk to the town manager in Barrington. I'm going to go to Barrington, take a look at them, and then maybe reach out to an Eagle Scout leader or something to that effect, and maybe talk to Home Depot and see if we can get the lumber donated. You know, again, it's generate money for the town. As everybody knows, the rec department doesn't have a huge budget, so everything they do is either through CPA or through and actually the all-day summer program basically pays for the high school kids and whatnot. And we have the summer concert series, and I'd like to see our board do a little bit more fundraising. I think even if we raise a little bit of money, I'm big on appearance. I think if a family comes from out of town and pulls up to one of our parks and the backboards are all rusty and there's large cracks in the concrete and there's grass growing through the concrete, they're going to go somewhere else. I'd rather keep people here in town. I'd rather have visitors from other towns come to our town and be the envy, oh, I wish our playgrounds looked like this. That's what I want our parks to be. So I think our board needs to come up with some more fundraising ideas, even if it's to buy paint, to paint backboards. There are a few parks in town that are really hurting for some cosmetic things. And rather than wait for CPA money, it's very inexpensive to buy paint to paint the backboards, and to fill cracks. I just think that there's some things that we can do going forward that will help with that. One of the fundraisers I'd like to see our board maybe look into doing is a golf tournament. We're a rec board. I think if we hold a golf tournament, Swansea Country Club is great for that. We did one years ago for a travel softball team that was going to play down at Disney. That I took my softball team to Disney to play in the USSSA World Series. And we had a golf tournament, and we raised almost $5,000 just from that golf tournament. And I think if we pursue that, I think we could raise some money for the rec department.
We do a golf tournament for the Lions Club every year, and it's our biggest fundraiser by far.
Correct.
It's not even close.
Yeah, and I think that all it takes is a little bit of work. It's all it is. It's a little bit of work, some volunteers, and I think that we can get it done.
One of the things you mentioned to me when we were talking about the election was, isn't there an area, a waterfront area down in Brayton Point that you wanted to open up more to the public?
There is. There's an area. If you go down Brayton Point, there's a parking lot right at the end of Ripley Street, and I've been trying to find out the last few meetings who owns the property to the right of that parking lot. There's like a grassy area right there that overlooks the water. A good view of the lighthouse, no view of the scrap metal pile. Yeah. So it's a good spot to just go hang out by the water. And I think that the rec department actually has a memorial bench program where people can buy benches and have a plaque put on it. And for $700, you can buy a bench, and that includes installation. I know I'd like to buy it. My family is interested in buying a bench in memory of my mother, who passed away last year, who she lived in Brayton Point 73 years. So I would like to, our family would like to put a bench down there. There's another Thomas family. They'd like, I've already talked about possibly purchasing a bench. And then Save Our Bay.Brayton Point is interested in purchasing a bench as well, to dedicate it to all past, present, and future, patrons of Brayton Point. So we were in the process of I was in the process of trying to find out who owned that grassy land, if it was town land or state land, or if it was privately owned. Nobody could tell me. I actually just found out yesterday that it's town land. Okay. So I guess my next step is to go to either conservation or to Board of Selectmen to find out what our next steps are as far as that goes.
Yeah, because they were talking at the Selectmen's meeting the other day about opening up a lot of places around town with public access to the water.
Correct. And some of those places, again, I think would, they said there was parking, I think down on at the end of Pratt Ave, used to be the town beach, and there's parking there. Again, another good spot for a kayak storage. If people are going to access the water there, why not put a kayak storage there? I think that's a good idea. But the benches is something that we're going to pursue. That's one of the things we're working on now. Save Our Bay.Brayton Point is working on that. So we're gonna pursue that. I think we're trying to get more involved in community projects. We're constantly brainstorming on what can we do more to help the community? We've held a food drive. We did, there was a needy family in Brayton Point who needed Christmas presents for kids, and we flooded them with Christmas presents. And actually what was left we donated to Toys for Tots at the police department. We just spruced up the sign at O'Neill Field. Somebody donated flowers and time and went down there and weeded all the sign, planted new shrubs and flowers, and put a nice looking glass bird bath under the sign. I donated a can of stain. I went down there on a Saturday night for 2 hours. I stained the poles. So we're trying, and we're constantly thinking of ways to improve the way our community looks. And if anybody has any ideas, or anywhere in town that you think could use some help, we have the volunteers. For sure. Save Our Bay is over 4,000 people membership right now, and they're all willing to step up and help. So if anybody has any ideas, that would be great. We did a beach cleanup. We're probably going to do more cleanups as we go on, but those are the things we're working on right now.
And you're the president of Save
I am.
Our Bay.Brayton Point
Yeah,
now, right?
Alan Smith was the president at first when Save Our Bay first started. Obviously, for obvious reasons, he stepped down. So I became the president, and we have a lot of things going on with that. It's a daily struggle, a daily battle, and we're certainly not going anywhere. We're certainly not giving up. We are going to make sure that the former power plant is industrial. We all know it's industrial. We're not against that at all. We're against irresponsible business. That's what we're against. And we want responsible industry. They promised us clean energy after 50 years of being polluted on. They promised clean energy and clean business, and we don't have that. We don't have that, and it's proven. It's proven. I mean, the Attorney General's office is not going to sue them if what we're saying is lying. I mean, our pictures don't lie. Our photos, our videos, they don't lie. It's happening. It's happening on a daily basis, and there are test results that prove it. There's pictures that prove it. There's eyewitnesses that prove it. And right now we're going to land court in August, and hopefully we'll be victorious in that. And we're not looking to shut down business at Brayton Point. We know the community is in dire need of tax money, and we're all taxpayers, so we all feel it too. But we're certainly not going to sit back and just allow this company to pollute the bay that we kayak in and fish in. After the power plant closed, the water's cleaned up, the fish came back, the loons came back, the eagles were around, the osprey, everything was thriving, and now it's 2 years of dumping metal and dust in the water. If you go on our website, you'll see just even yesterday a truck dumping metal and just dust flying everywhere. And right on the side of retention ponds that now have metal dust in them, and then during the night when everybody's sleeping, they pump it into the bay. And we have proof of that. We have drone video, we have drone pictures, and we know what's going on, and we're going to fight it. We're going to fight it.
And you just got $10,000 from the town.
We did.
You're going to use to educate people.
We did. We're going to start a website, a formal website right now. We have. It's not an official page, but we have a Facebook page. But it's not an official Save Our Bay 501c3 website, which we're going to start, with that money to educate. And we're going to continue to assist people who want to appeal zoning decisions, and we're gonna assist them. Nobody's looking to sue the town with that money. Nobody, contrary to what people talk about, we're not interested in suing the town with that money. We're interested in, making sure that people have clean air, clean water. Unless you live there, you have no idea what's going on. It doesn't affect you. So, and we all understand that. If you live on the other end of town, I'm not saying you don't care, because we have a lot of support from the other end of town. But people have the right to enjoy their property. Whether you live on Main Street or Brayton Point, you have the right to open your windows on the water in the summer. And right now, people in Brayton Point can't do that. They can't do that. I don't even live all the way down in Brayton Point. And I can't open my windows just because of the dust from the trucks driving by and the noise from the trucks. I mean, these trucks aren't the same trucks that used to go to Brayton Point and hauled out fly ash. KR Resendes respected our neighborhood. They were the truck company that hauled most of the fly ash out of there. They respected our neighborhood. They did what they were supposed to do. We're not trying to take money out of truckers' pockets, contrary to what people believe. We're not trying to do that. We're trying to get people to follow the rules and regulations. And they're not doing that. So that's why we're fighting back. But the $10,000 is gonna go to start the website. It's gonna go to assist people with appeals and to learn that process. And if we have to, we'll help them pay if they need for that. It's we'll send out flyers and mailers and that type of stuff to educate people on what's going on and what our upcoming events are. And I don't think this has been such a good thing for in my opinion, for our community was starting Save Our Bay.Brayton Point. And it just so happened that in the beginning, there was only a handful of us that started it, and then it just continued to grow and grow and grow. And it's not just a Somerset problem. It's a Fall River problem. It's a Swansea problem. I mean, we've got people on there who say they can hear metal crashing all the way in Bristol. So, I mean, it's a regional problem. And we've reached out to every agency we can. We know that the state owns the dock. We know the state owns the 12.5 acres around the dock. And in my opinion, I think that the state should be coming in there and shutting them down. Because how can you lease property to another business that doesn't own the property? They don't own the property. So how can you lease business to someone else? I mean, they lied on their zoning application, in my opinion, by saying they owned all the property, which they don't. We know they don't. The Department of Conservation and Recreation has admitted they own the property. So, and now the governor is involved, and he's aware of what's going on. And the other night at the selectmen's meetings, they announced they were going to send a letter to the governor. So things are moving. We all know the wheels of government turn slowly, but it's a shame that people really can't enjoy their property. I mean, especially on the waterfront. I mean, it's beautiful down there. I mean, it's great. I mean, I remember when my mother used to tell me stories about Brayton Point. That was the place to go way back when she was a child. I mean, there were ice cream stands down there. There were pavilions. There was a beach. I mean, that was the place to go.
That was where Shirley Mae France did a lot of her training, right?
Correct. Yeah. So that was a great place to go in town. And it used to be summer homes for people, and now it's people's forever homes. I mean, and I don't think we should allow any company, I don't care who it is or what type of business it is, to come in there and just raise holy hell and do whatever they want. I mean, I've been down there. I've been down there at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I mean, it sounds like a car crash every 5 seconds. You know, just them picking up metal and throwing it, and I mean, it's not good for the kids. Nobody knows what they're breathing in, you know, at all. I mean, the dust that you can't see is probably the most harmful dust. So that's where we're at with that.
Okay.
Anything else?
Well, I'll give you one last recreation question. Those women who were talking about the pickleball, I think they were also saying that they'd like to see more like programs for adults from the recreation department. Do you think there's other things the rec department could do for,
absolutely.
for other ages?
Absolutely. I mean, I would like to speak with some of the seniors and maybe do maybe we can put together a survey to see what type of activities you know, seniors. I mean, we could call around to other recreation departments in different towns and find out what they're doing for their active seniors. I mean, we can find out what the next steps are. I mean, like I said, I mean, seniors want to be active. Some seniors want to be active, and I agree with them wholeheartedly that there should be programs and places for them to go to do that. So we'll pursue it. We'll pursue it. You know, like I said, her statement really stuck with me. It really stuck with me. So I'm gonna continue to pursue that.
Yeah,
for sure.
She seemed pretty persistent.
She did, and she's right though. She's right. You know, she's 100% right. And that's we'll continue to pursue that.
Okay. All right. Thanks for answering my questions.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in to Somerset Showcase. We were speaking with Jeff Kardel. You may see him at Pierce Beach at a concert or at a recreation program or down at Brayton Point. Thank you for tuning in.